Social media giants are playing games with us. That doesn't mean Christians necessarily have to quit, but we can't play by their rules. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. This is Breakpoint. Recently, a friend shared with me a statement on a personal issue that she wanted to post on social media. I urged her not to do it, partly because of my own experiences with social media, and partly because I'm convinced that what happens on these platforms isn't nearly as consequential as we often feel they are. I learned a lot about this a few months ago when an article I wrote kicked off a pretty serious social media reaction. While many expressed gratitude for the article, it also set off a backlash on Twitter. Thousands of responses flooded my feed, most of them filled with outrage. It seemed overwhelming at the time, but a wise friend advised me to lay low, predicting it would be over in about 72 hours. And he was right. In fact, a few weeks afterwards, when I asked people about the whole incident, hardly anyone was even aware of it. I thought about this recently when one of our Colson Center board members sent around a video from a recent Senate hearing. Last month, Tristan Harris, a former design ethicist with Google and co-founder of the Center for Humane Technology, testified on Capitol Hill about social media. In his testimony, Harris made some startling comments about Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. By far, the most telling was how he described these platforms. He called them outrage amplifiers. That emotion, outrage, is the secret sauce in social media success. According to Harris, Twitter in particular is deliberately designed to spark, exploit, and perpetuate moral outrage. He cited one study that showed that every outrage word a user adds to their tweet will increase their retweets by 17%. Article after article has documented the rise of so-called call-out culture, the kind of online feeding frenzy that grips users and drives them, often in the space of hours, to destroy individuals' lives and careers for the smallest of offenses. If Harris is to be believed, this outrage amplification isn't a bug of social media, it's a feature. In fact, it's the business model. Now, so far, my Twitter storms, and there have been a few, have blown over without any permanent damage. But many others aren't so lucky. Jobs, friends, good names, even personal and family security has been lost by many people, all because a small, outraged, and ultra-amplified group of online activists decided to target them. And here's something else you may not know, but should. Despite the constant buzzing of notifications on your phone, those Twitter mobs are a pretty small group. As economist Arthur Brooks points out, only 22% of American adults are even on Twitter, and 80% of tweets come from just 10% of those users. In Brooks's words, if you rely on Twitter for political information, you're being informed by pundits residing within 2.2% of the population. I love the way that our Colson Center board member put it. We're not so much being informed by social media as we're being herded, goaded, addicted, and otherwise cyber-farmed. For all of its bluster and potential damage, social media is an artificial and highly curated world where the anger of a minority is amplified to ear-splitting volume. To put it simply, Twitter just isn't real life. Therefore, its outrage-based business model should not determine what we think about, talk about, care about, or believe. Now look, I'm still on Twitter, and I'm not necessarily telling anyone to shut their account down. But one thing we often say on Breakpoint is that outrage is not a strategy. It is on Twitter, but it ought not be for Christians. Not only is outrage Twitter almost always based on sound bites and a lack of thoughtful discussion, it's dishonest. Online mobs don't care about the truth. They don't wait for all the details to emerge. Outrage habits run counter to everything that followers of Christ should be known for. So if you don't opt out of social media, at least opt out of the outrage. And before you hit that tweet button on that issue that you feel so strongly about and you think that everybody else is talking about, just ask for a friend's advice first. For Breakpoint, I'm John Stonestreet.